In this video, I will present you how can you visualize using Power BI data taken from a website from the internet, where the data is downloaded and refreshed every time when you display your dashboard. For the purpose, I just pick a website where some inflation related data are stored in this tabular format, and let's take for example the inflation data for the last couple of years for Germany. So this data I would like to represent using Power BI. The first step for creating a visualization is to load the data into the Power BI application. For this, I will copy the URL from where I found the data, and now I open Power BI, and in the Power BI desktop application, the Power BI designer, I will go to Get Data, and I select as data source Other and Web. Now I connect, and in the Connect window is asking me for the URL from where to take the data. I paste the URL and I click OK. Now this will load the specified web page, and on the left side pane will show me that on this web page there are a couple of items found, and on the right side will present me a preview of those items that were found on the web page. This takes a minute. So there are these two tables found on the web page. If I click on it, I can see that the table 0 is the table that contains my data, and I will select this with the checkbox because I would like to load this data into Power BI. When I click the load button, again it takes a while, and my data now is loaded into Power BI. So on the right side I can see here a couple of a table and a couple of columns from that table. I have my data in the application, but now I would like to modify it a little bit. For this I will click on this icon, and this will display me the data source data in the tabular format as it was downloaded from the website. And here I will make a couple of modifications. First of all, I will double click here and I will call my dataset inflation data. Then this is rename, and then I will, in my representation, I will use only the yearly inflation. So the total column I will rename as simply inflation. In the representation, basically I will use the first column, the year, and the last one, the yearly inflation. The rest of the columns I don't need, so I can go and delete them, or I can leave them in there. It does not matter. So these, with these two modifications being done, what I check again is that the data type for the first column is whole number and is fine, and the data type for the last column is a decimal number, and this is fine as well. Now I will return and create my report. To visualize my data, I will pick a chart type, and I take this bar chart, this vertical bar chart, and in this one I will take the inflation as value, drag it here, and the year I will drag it on the axis. So now I've got the inflation values over the time for the whole period. Let's customize this a little bit. First of all, I don't want for the whole period. I've got data beginning of 1940, and for this one I will take the year on this report level filter, and I will filter it. I say that is greater or equal as from, let's say, 95. So now my chart is a bit smaller. Let's go here and put the data labels on. So I put the data labels on the on each bar. The data colors, I would go and I will change it, let's say, to this one. It looks better. On the x-axis, the type I would switch to categorical, so that I've got the year underneath each of the bars. And the y-axis, I will take it off. I don't need, because I've got the values on each bar. So this would be the visual representation of the inflation rate for each year. Now I would like to add some more information to this one, and therefore I will pick this multi-row card. Sorry, here I need to go click here on the white area and then click on the multi-row card. And on this multi-row card, in the fields, I will bring inflation once, and another one, and another one. So I've got the inflation field here 3 times. And the first one I will select here to be the minimum, so to show the minimum inflation. The second one to show the average inflation, and the third one to show the maximum inflation. So this way, out of the for the selected period, because I set here a report level filter, for the filtered data I've got a minimum, an average, and the maximum inflation. Now I will rename my report and I will call it inflation report, and we are ready with the representation of the data. Now the next step is that we would like to publish this on the Power BI web portal. For this I click on publish, and do you want to save your changes? Save. Let's put it here, and we would say inflation. Now it's saved locally, and now it's publishing on the Power BI portal. Notice that it is not asking for any credentials, because I'm already logged in on the portal. If you are not logged in, it's asking for your credentials. You should have a Power BI account in order to be able to publish. Now either you click on this one, or you switch to your browser, and after a refresh here we should be able to see the published report, which means that we've got here a data set called inflation and a report called inflations. And if I click on the report, I see the visualization that I created before. Now I want to tie this together into a nice dashboard that I can share with other colleagues. So I click on, beside dashboards, I click on the plus button, and I create the dashboard called inflation history. And now going back to my inflation report, I go and I push this one, I say pin visual, and I select here inflation history, pin, and I take this item as well, and I say to pin it to the same dashboard. Now let's go on the dashboard and see how it's looking. Yeah, it looks nice. First I would take this and drag it underneath. I make this a bit wider, like this. This one I will make it like this. I want to change the title, and we say inflation ratio history for Germany by year. Apply, and here I don't put any title. Now my dashboard is ready to be presented to anybody who has access to the Power BI portal. The users need to have a valid account to the Power BI portal, and I can use the share button and add their email addresses to receive an invitation so that they can visualize the report. One additional thing that I would like to mention, here on datasets, I've got these three dots, and now I can go and either schedule a refresh or just refresh now the report. If I go to the scheduled refresh, then I need here to set data source credentials. Actually here, since it's a free data source, I don't need any credentials. So I just can go here and say edit credential and say anonymous sign in. That will do the whole anonymous access to the site. And here I can go and schedule a refresh. So this means that on a periodical basis, my data is refreshed, and here I can even visualize a refresh history. So this being said, I showed you what are the steps to get the data from an internet website, bring it into Power BI, represent it and publish your representation, your visual design on the Power BI website. Feel free to use this tutorial for other data sources and other representation as well. I hope you enjoyed it.